I'm Stephanie.
Sitting in the courtroom, I watched as my sister Lily's lawyer pointed an accusatory finger at me and shouted, "Your Honor, we demand immediate control of the estate because the respondent is a fraud." She took advantage of my client's grandfather in his final days. Lily let out a dramatic wail, and my parents, Robert and Carol, craned their necks like vultures, waiting for the judge to rule in their favor. The judge turned to me and asked, "Miss Thompson, do you object?" I glanced at my watch and replied calmly, "Not yet, Your Honor. I'm waiting for someone." Just then, the heavy doors opened, and a man in a shabby suit walked in. He carried a briefcase that looked like it had seen better days and approached the clerk's desk. "I'm representing the trust department of Sterling National Bank. We are the successor trustee for the estate," he said in a dry voice. The atmosphere in the courtroom changed instantly. Lily's lawyer jumped up and objected, but the judge silenced him and began to open the envelope the man had brought. I knew exactly what was inside because I had accompanied my grandfather to the bank 5 years ago. He had been a successful entrepreneur, building a real estate empire from the ground up. While my parents, Robert and Carol, were always more interested in spending money on luxury vacations and fancy cars, I was the one who took care of my grandfather in his old age. My parents' attitude towards me had always been cold. When I was 16, I had a serious accident that required expensive medical treatment. That same year, my parents' import-export business faced a financial crisis. Instead of supporting me, they blamed me for their troubles. "If it weren't for your accident, we could have saved the business," my father, Robert, roared at me. From then on, I became the scapegoat in the family. Lily, who was born 4 years after the crisis, was treated like a princess. She got all the best things in life, while I was left to fend for myself. I worked multiple jobs to pay off the family's debts and support my parents, hoping that one day they would appreciate me. But as I grew older and gained more experience in the business world, I realized that my parents' failure was due to their own mismanagement and greed, not my accident. My grandfather saw my hard work and loyalty, which is why he decided to put his assets into an irrevocable trust. The judge pulled out the document and read the no contest clause. Lily's lawyer stammered and tried to withdraw the motion, but it was too late. The judge ruled that the trust was valid and denied their request for emergency control. Lily, in a desperate attempt to salvage the situation, accused me of elder abuse and isolation. She claimed that I had cut off my grandfather's contact with the family. My father, Robert, joined in, telling a heart-wrenching story about how I had barred them from seeing my grandfather on Christmas Eve. The judge turned to me and asked for a response. I took a deep breath and nodded at the trustee. The trustee then pulled out my grandfather's journal and 5 years of phone records. He began to read entries that showed how my parents and Lily had repeatedly ignored and abandoned my grandfather. On Lily's birthday, my grandfather had called to wish her happy birthday, but she never returned the call. On Father's Day, my father, Robert, promised to visit but never showed up. The evidence was damning, and my parents' and Lily's faces turned pale. Lily then claimed that my grandfather was incompetent when he signed the trust. But I was prepared for this. I had scheduled 2 appointments with forensic psychiatrists before the trust was amended. The trustee presented the affidavit of capacity signed by the psychiatrists, along with video recordings of the sessions. The judge was shocked. He declared that Lily's side had committed perjury and attempted fraud. He dismissed the petition with prejudice, ordered a sanctions hearing, and ruled that the no contest clause was triggered. Lily and my parents left the courtroom empty-handed. Outside the courthouse, my parents tried to bargain with me, but I was done. I looked at my father, Robert, and said, "You blamed me for your failures for years. You used me as a punching bag. But now, the ledger is closed, and I'm not paying for your mistakes anymore." I got into my car and drove away, leaving them behind. 3 weeks later, the trustee called to tell me that the transfer of assets was complete. Lily was facing a mountain of legal fees and was on the verge of bankruptcy. An audit of my parents' business also revealed financial irregularities. I sat in my grandfather's study, looking at his journal. It was a reminder of the truth and the loyalty I had shown. I opened my contacts and deleted my parents' and Lily's numbers. They were no longer my family. They were just strangers who had tried to take advantage of me. And from that day on, I knew that I was finally free.